Okay, so I have the worst luck when it comes to birthdays. Last year, my 20th birthday, I got my wisdom teeth removed, and my face was swollen like a chipmunk, and I was so sad because I cried the whole entire day. Couldn't do anything, I couldn't eat. So this year for my 21st birthday, well, technically last year, it was 2 years ago, I told myself, okay, my 21st birthday, it's gonna be good, I'm gonna drink, I'm gonna get drunk, because that's what you do when you turn 21. And it's not what I expected. So 2 days before my birthday, I had this really bad bump on like my lower back, and it hurt to walk, it hurt to sit. Like I literally just had like, it was right here and it was like this big, and I was like, oh my goodness, something's wrong with me. I told my boyfriend, I was like, what is this? Do you know what this is? And he's like, well, let me look at it. And he's looking at it, he's like, it looks really red, really swollen. You should check it out. So I was like, okay, well, let's go check it out. Went to the doctors, and they were like, well, it looks like an infected cyst. And we were thinking, it's a pimple? Like those pimple popping shows? Like, dude, that's awesome. And he was like, oh, you know, but it's in your gluteus cleft. And I was like, what's a gluteus cleft? And I'm here thinking like, you mean butt crack? And he starts laughing. He's like, yeah, sorry, I didn't know the non-medical term for it. And I'm like, okay, sure. You're how old and you don't know what the butt crack is? Okay, that's fine. So then I went to my primary doctor that same week, and I'm like, hey, you know, I have something on my butt. He said it's a cyst. And by then it was already my 21st birthday. The doctor gave me antibiotics. I didn't take them because I was like, antibiotic and alcohol don't mix together. And I wasn't gonna do it. So I didn't take the antibiotics, and I just drank, and I got really drunk, and it was fun. But I went to my doctor, and he was just like a new doctor, just graduated from medical school, and he's like, well, should I check it? And I'm like, yeah, and I just went like, here you go. And he like looked at it, and he's like, yeah, you should get that checked out. I'm afraid of surgeon. And I was like, okay, surgeon, sounds great. Went to the surgeon with my boyfriend, and we're there talking, and he's just like, yeah, I need to get some like scans from you. So we got the scans that same day. He's like, you know what? It's not a cyst. You have a tumor. And I was like, well, fuck. Like, what now? And I looked at my boyfriend and I started crying. I was like, is it cancerous? Like, my mom had cancer, my dad had cancer, my brother had a tumor in his jaw. Was like, is this running in the family? Like, is there something wrong with us? Like, I went back to my mom and was like, Mom, did you have sex wrong? Like, you're wrong? Because she always joked about it. She was like, oh, it's because, like, I made you wrong. And I'm like, okay, then, you know, I'm just really messed up. And so he's like, yeah, you know, we won't, the doctor was like, we won't know further until we get it removed. So a week later, I had to make all my stuff for school, so I withdrew from school because I was going to be out for like 2 months. I had to go on medical leave from work, so everything was just like going as it was supposed to be. But I was really bummed because I was going to miss like work and school, and it was just so much. So the day of my surgery, I had to fast for 24 hours because obviously it's in your butt, and you know, like poop is near your butt and stuff and everything. And the doctor was like, I need 2 enemas to be done before 10:30, and I was like, oh my goodness. An enema, I don't know if you guys know what an enema is, but it's a little, it's like this big, it has water in there, and you put it up your butt, and then you squeeze it, and you're supposed to die, it's just diarrhea everywhere. And so you're supposed to do 2 of them, and here I am, 24 hours of no eating, I'm starving, I'm dehydrated, I'm in a bad mood. I woke up at my boyfriend's house, and I was like, I have to do 2 enemas right now. Like, what do I do? And he's just like, you need help. And I'm like, get away from me. I don't want your help. And so here I am laying on the floor just like this, crying. And like I put it in, I was like, oh my God. And I like went to the restroom. And then 30 minutes later, I like cried. I was like, I have to do this again. And then again, I did it. And I was like, I'm so hungry. What do I do? And I was like, my butt hurts from trying to poop and there's nothing coming out. And so yeah, it was really bad. And so then I get to the hospital, and I'm laying there, and my boyfriend left us to get class, and I was like, okay, well, bye, I'll see you later, and he's just like, yeah, I'll see you later, and I was like, okay. So I'm like laying there, the nurse talking to me about food, because she's like, oh yeah, like I'm dating this Mexican guy, and I was like, oh yeah, I was like, I'm Mexican, she's like, yeah, but you know, like I'm Asian, I was like, oh, my boyfriend's Asian, and we're like talking about food and everything, I'm like, oh my goodness, my stomach is like, I was like, I'm gonna die, this is it. And the doctor comes in, he's like, all right, we're gonna remove it. He's like, it should be maybe like 10 little stitches. I was like, okay, great, it's gonna be a really small thing. Wasn't that, size of an orange, 39 stitches. It was bad. I was like on the floor for like 2 months straight. It was great, but lesson learned, I'm not gonna turn any more birthdays because I don't wanna have any more bad stuff happen to me. So yeah.